Good evening. It is 8:58 East African time. Thank you so much for finding time to join us on this edition of TV47 News. Tonight, we have a lot lined up for you in the world of politics, business, and much more. We start, but let's have a look at the highlights. Tonight, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio senators engage in a heated confrontation regarding Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduol's impeachment.
His office remains, but that does not bar, within other duration of 3 months, any person to bring a charge against the Deputy Governor.
The Deputy Governor survives the attempt on his removal. And blame games continue in the KEMSA scandal that cost the country 3.7 billion shillings.
She gets this communication that is reaching her. Is it through a memo written by you or your boss, Dr. Mulwa?
And I wrote the inconsistency to him.
Kenya joins the world in marking the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking.
But then we must also deal decisively with those who are involved in the trade, who are actually making it difficult for us as a community to live decently.
As Nacada intensifies calls for the government to come up with more rehabilitation programs. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Catherine Simoloi. Now, Kenyans will now brace themselves for increased financial burdens following the recent signing of the Finance Bill 2023 into law by President William Ruto. This contentious bill, now enacted, will serve as the financial backbone for Kenya Kwanza's inaugural budget, amounting to a staggering 3.6 trillion shillings. The implications of this development are far-reaching, as Kenyans will have to dig deeper into their pockets to fulfill the financial obligations imposed by the new legislation. This story was produced by Flora Limuki.
Kenyans will have to brace for tough economic times following President William Ruto's signing of the Finance Bill 2023 into law. The law, which will now take effect from July 1st, will see prices of basic commodities skyrocketing. The contentious bill, which has caused a public uproar and strong criticism from opposition leaders, was passed by 184 members of parliament, while only 88 MPs voted against it. The voting, which was held on Wednesday and ran up to midnight, saw all the 87 amended clauses passed by the National Assembly. One of the most controversial issues in the finance bill is the housing levy, which was amended to 1.5% from 3%. Employers will now be required to contribute 1.5% from their employees in order to support the affordable housing scheme. Value-added tax on petroleum product will rise from 8% to 16%, resulting to over 12 shillings per litre of diesel and super petrol, which could eventually see super petrol hit the 200 mark. An increase in fuel price will consequently increase the cost of production, and that is set to affect the prices of basic commodities. Digital content creators will be subjected to a 5% withholding tax. Betting companies will be required to pay 12.5% tax. Azimio Coalition is expected to resume its nationwide protest on Tuesday, with a major meeting expected to be held at the Kamukunji grounds. This comes amidst the failed bipartisan talks between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza after they failed to reach a consensus on issues at hand.
If that bill in its current format is pushed through the National Assembly, it may herald a new phase of serious mass action. As a matter of fact, when we were in Kisumu over the weekend, we did allude to the fact that this mass action might start around the 3rd of July. Yes.
The president also approved the Parliamentary Appropriation Bill of 2023, warranting the additional spending by the national government of 22.9 billion Kenyan shillings from the Consolidated Fund. It is the first appropriation bill under the Kenya Kwanza government and therefore seeks to align its manifesto and promises through assignment of actual resources to meet various services and projects. Jackson Chacha, TV47.
To some politics now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has condemned the chaos witnessed in Mombasa over party leadership. The chaos erupted after supporters of Nyali Member of Parliament Mohammed Ali and former Mombasa Senator Hassan Omar's supporters clashed. Have a look.
A section of UDA delegates have condemned the violent incident witnessed last Saturday that led to the cancellation of the Mombasa UDA Delegates Forum and the launch of party membership drive. Led by the Voice of Mombasa movement, a social movement and business initiative by former MCA candidates of the UDA party, they called on the party's disciplinary organs to take action against the perpetrator of the violence.
People only fight for a popular party. All these other briefcase parties, nobody is bothered about them because nobody even knows about their existence. So the more vicious leadership wrangles are, the better for the party. So it is healthy, and we encourage people to criticize the Secretary General. I've been here, I've told him a few issues I think he should correct, and it's only that I have not corrected him in public.
The Saturday meeting, attended by UDA Sec Gen Cleophas Malala, ended prematurely after supporters of Nyali MP Mohammed Ali and Iyala MP and UDA National Vice Chairman Omar Hassan clashed.
Ni issues za discipline. Wajua Mombasa hii, sisi tuwajua National Vice Chair wa chama ni Hassan Omar Sarai. Lakini wajua saa ingine watu wanakuja na mabana pale, ati sijui Sarai must go, hapo discipline iko wapi? Na ukienda katika katiba ya UDA, article 29 inaongea kuhusu disciplinary committee. Hii committee wanga iko wapi?
Mohammed Ali ndani ya Mombasa akaweze kuja polepole na ampatie Sarai heshima yake. Kwa sababu mpaka sasa tunavyozungumza yeye ni mbunge wa Nyali. Lakini Sarai ndiye anabaki kuwa governor candidate wa UDA ndani ya Mombasa mpaka 2027.
UDA Party Secretary General Cleophas Malala has been on nationwide mass registration for the party members. Florally Muki, TV 47.
Now, the head of the National Malaria Program at the Ministry of Health told the Senate Health Committee that he wrote a memo to the then Director of Preventive and Promotive Health, Andrew Mulwa, concerning the inconsistencies in net specifications as put out by KEMSA. However, Mulwa, who is currently the acting CEO of KEMSA and who was also present at the hearing, denied ever receiving any official memo from the official concerning the matter. The country lost 3.7 billion shillings in the scandal, as Zainab Mohammed now tells us.
We had already discussed about it, so there was no issue for me.
Okay, Madam, I think you have said that a couple of times.
In the aftermath of the recent shocking scandal at KEMSA, stakeholders are attempting to unravel the tight knot of issues that led to the loss. But that job is proving challenging. Facts and figures and even a chain of responsibility are scarce. Confusion and contradiction, however, is in plenty. Appearing before the Health Senate Committee, acting KEMSA CEO Andrew Mulwa and Malaria Program Head Omar Ahmedin presented contradicting accounts of what led to the loss, each seemingly laying blame on the other. According to Ahmedin, after realizing the inconsistencies in the net specifications, he reached out physically to his then boss Andrew Mulwa, notifying him of the issue. Mulwa advised him to write an official memo to his office, which he claims to have done.
When it was advertised, it lacked number 2. That's what I discussed with my director here, and that's what he requested me to write. And that's what I wrote to him, which I never got a feedback. And when you're the technical person, you just do your due diligence, you inform, and you leave the authority to make the decision. So I think the director, the PS, and KEMSA are better placed on why they implement or do not implement.
However, Mulwa, despite confirming Ahmedin's story on a notification by word of mouth, denies ever receiving any official memo from the head of Malaria Program. This is despite his superior, the then Health PS, Josephine Mburu, being in receipt of the same memo and even acting upon it.
Yes, Chair, it's true. He came to me and raised concern on what KEMSA had advertised. And I asked him, I told him to put it in writing because, you are doing verbal communication. So I asked him to go put in writing through the channel, which would mean it would go to Dr. Nazila, the head of department, Dr. Nazila would process it. If she finds it okay, she will forward to me. If she finds it not okay, she will not forward it to me. Coincidentally, and I've written that in my submission, Chair, he did as I had advised him, but this memo did not pass through my office nor the office of Dr. Nazila.
The committee has now ordered Ahmedin to provide an office registry showing the dispatch of the letter from his office to Mulwa's office by Friday. The committee has also ordered the head of department, National Strategic Public Health Programs, Dr. Nazila Ganatra, to appear before it on the same matter. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Back to politics, 27 senators have this evening voted against the two grounds that the Senate Special Committee probing Siaya County Deputy Governor William Oduol's impeachment had found to have been proven and substantiated. And as Mike Kagwongo now tells us, a total of 16 senators voted to oust the embattled Deputy Governor. And if aggrieved, members of the Siaya County Assembly or any other person will now have 3 months to bring another charge against the Deputy Governor.
Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduol can breathe a sigh of relief as he narrowly survived impeachment, with the majority of senators voting against the bid to remove him from office.
Senator Boni.
In a highly charged voting process held this evening, 27 senators aligned with President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza party utilized their superiority numbers to dismiss both charges brought against the embattled deputy governor.
Pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33(8) of the County Government Act, and Standing Order 87 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate has failed to remove from office by impeachment Honorable William Oduol, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County.
On the first charge, which accused Oduol of gross violation of the 2010 Constitution and other laws by interfering with the procurement process through acts of bid rigging, all 27 Kenya Kwanza senators voted against the impeachment. Only 16 senators aligned with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition voted in favor of Oduol's ouster. Similarly, on the second charge of misleading the public by providing false information, 27 senators rallied to save Governor James Orengo's deputy from being removed from office. Earlier, during the proceedings, 11 members of a special committee led by Elgeyo Marakwet Senator William Kisang substantiated 2 out of the 5 charges against Oduol. The accusations included the alleged misuse of 18 million shillings of taxpayers' money to renovate his office for personal comfort. With the impeachment attempt unsuccessful, members of the Siaya County Assembly now have a 3-month window to present any additional charges against Oduol, should they remain aggrieved by the Senator's decision.
If the Senate passes the motion that they have not voted for the removal of the Deputy Governor, then his office remains. But that does not bar, within other duration of 3 months, any person to bring a charge against the Deputy Governor for maybe a different offense, for something else that he have committed or they have committed that may warrant their removal from the office.
Following the passing of the bill during former President William Ruto's administration in 2016, which allows MCAs the right to impeach a governor or a deputy governor in equal measure, constitutional lawyer Paul Masharia says Chapter 6 of the Constitution provide the accountability of all elected leaders, whether substantive office holder or assistant.
By and large, if there is any breach committed by yourself as an individual, because it's an office, the law and the Constitution requires that every office holder ought to act within some limits of the law.
The outcome of this high-stake political battle has not only secured Oduol's position for now, but has also set the stage for potential future confrontations between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio senators within Siaya County's political landscape. Mike Kagwongo, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, the third phase of the post-mortem exercise for bodies recovered from Shakahola forest is set to end on Tuesday as pathologists conducted 22 more post-mortem exercises today. So far, 9 bodies are at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital mortuary and are set to undergo post-mortem, after which the team will resume exhumation of bodies left in Shakahola forest. Chichi Josephine tells us more.
The third phase of the post-mortem for bodies recovered from Shakahola Ranch is set to end on Tuesday. Government Chief Pathologist Johansen Odor, while giving the daily briefing at the Malindi mortuary alongside Homicide Director Martin Nyuguto, indicated the number of bodies increased after one follower died in police custody.
Initially, we had said that 94 bodies had been exhumed. But now, as for my calculation today, they are 96. Why are they 96? Because as we were doing post-mortem, we found that 2 bodies had been wrapped in the same sheet. So this made them 95. Then one person died in prison. So that's what made them now a total of 96.
Out of the 22 autopsies done today, 7 bodies were those of adults while 12 were children. The ages of the other 2 bodies could not be determined due to the level of decomposition.
Of these 22 autopsies, 7 of them were adults, while 12 were children, and 2 we are unable to establish the age due to the decomposition.
According to the pathologist, so far 87 post-mortems have been conducted in the third phase, as with the cause of death for most of them found to be starvation.
So far we've performed a total of 87 post-mortem in this phase. We are remaining with 9 post-mortems, which we are going to complete tomorrow. Most of them were starvation.
A total of 326 bodies have so far been exhumed from the 800-acre farm, which is now a security operation area. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
As Kenya joined the world in marking the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, Nacada has intensified calls for the government to come up with more rehabilitation programs to aid in combating the escalating problem of drug and substance addiction. Nacada noted that stigma and discrimination of addicts has been a challenge for recovering addicts. Have a look.
As the fight against drug and substance abuse wages on, stigma against recovered addicts continues, unfortunately discouraging those who need help from seeking it. A report by the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse indicates that in 2022, 1 in 6 people were involved in drug and substance use. This means that over 4 million Kenyans are abusing at least one substance.
Huku kuna sehemu ya ibada, kama ni msikiti, ni kanisa, hapa kuna sehemu ya ulevi. Huku kuna sehemu ambao kwamba ni watoto wanajaribu kufundishwa kusoma, mtoto akitoka tu anapata ulevi huko pale nje.
However, access to rehabilitation centers and programs has been a challenge to those recovering from drug usage.
We have those who are already affected, and the question is, how do we empathize, how do we support them, how do we take care of them? But then we must also deal decisively with those who are involved in the trade, who are actually making it difficult for us as a community to live decently and live a wholesome life.
With stakeholders pledging to fight tooth and nail against criminals involved in drug abuse, Kenyans have been asked to be more involved in the fight by dealing with it at the family level.
We have almost lost a whole generation. Within the last 10 years, we have almost lost a generation. And the people who are suffering are these children.
Intelligence in this country, wakitaka kujua wewe asubuhi umeenda wapi, umefanya nini, believe me, they are capable of doing it. Vipi hatujui mwenye kuleta madawa ya kulevya ni nani? Vipi hatujui mitaani wenye kuuza ni nani?
Nacada has further maintained that it will work with the reformed brewers to come up with empowerment programs amid their concern over the loss of income in the wake of the government's spirited fight against illicit brew. Rodambatiani, TV47.
Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu has promised the government's commitment in ensuring TVET institutions in the country are well funded and equipped with necessary materials so as to promote production of skillful graduates into the job market.
In his speech on the 15th of June 2023 before the National Assembly, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u noted that the education sector was among the major beneficiaries of the 2023-2024 financial year budget. This was evident in the government's move to increase the TVET's funds from 23 billion to 28 billion Kenyan shillings so as to promote a skillful-oriented education system. So as to put this dream into reality, today the Cabinet Secretary of Education Ezekiel Machogu reinstated a technical and vocational education and training curriculum development, assessment and certification council that was dissolved in 2021 by the previous regime, and its functions were donated to the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development and Kenya National Examination Council. Speaking during the inauguration ceremony of the TVET Curriculum Development, Assessment and Certification Council in Nairobi, CS Machogu assured continued funding for TVETs so as to promote their smooth operations.
We can only be able to achieve Vision 2030. We can only be able to achieve our objectives as a country if we get it right in matters technical and vocational training. Because the only natural resource that Kenya has is human capital. But again, the human capital we have cannot be of any use unless we impart the necessary required competencies and skills in our young people.
On her side, Technical and Vocational Training Principal Secretary Esther Mohoria has reiterated that her department will establish a competence-based curriculum through acquisition of skilled trainees that are well conversant with the TVET education system.
You are the body that is going to ensure that the national polytechnics are doing the correct thing. And for me, that is absolute, because we must be seen to do the correct thing by the populace of Kenya.
The newly appointed council has promised to rectify the situation and adopt a transparent operation that will enable the government to achieve its Vision 2030 goals. They have further noted that they are determined to produce international standard graduates so as to link Kenyan youth with job opportunities from other countries.
I will work to the best of my knowledge and ability to fulfill my responsibilities by providing leadership to the council and guiding the council's decision-making process. I'm only too aware, Your Excellency, of what has happened in SIDAC in the last few years. We hope we don't go that way.
As all this happens, the Presidential Working Task Force on Education Reforms is set to conclude its work and hand over the recommendation and its funding to the President. All eyes are now set to the task force to give further directions on how to make the TVET sector even better. Jackson Chacha, TV47.
Still on matters education, the 46th annual 5-day Secondary Schools Heads Association Kesha National Conference has kicked off in Mombasa. Top on the bucket list for the heads is how to improve the competency-based curriculum. Kesha Chairman Indi Mulikahi has added that the conference will also discuss why it is hard for principals not to stick to the 6 learning hours for students as directed by Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu.
As we get into the implementation of that finance as far as education is concerned, we must take cognizance of that red flag that the PS had already given. I'll back him on that. We need to look for more funds so that we are able to get all our children get capitation. Even though we are saying that capitation is not enough, we still want it increased. But the fact that it is identified that 1 million students may miss, then it means even the complaint we are having now that we are not getting the 22,244 in full, then we may be even getting even less in this financial year. So I would be more interested on how that finance bill and education is coming in.
Now, high poverty levels have long been identified as a significant factor exacerbating the prevalence of gender-based violence in Kilifi County. The adverse socio-economic conditions faced by individuals and families in the region have created an environment that fosters inequality, vulnerability, and desperation, often leading to incidents of violence against women and girls. Have a look.
Speaking at Kasarani grounds in Magarini sub-county, the stakeholders acknowledged the reduction in cases of gender-based violence in the area. However, the poverty still posed a major influence in the current rates GBV. The stakeholders calling on Kilifi Governor Gideon Mung'aro to accelerate development programs that will empower residents economically, a move that will aid the fight against gender-based violence.
Talk to them, they talk to us, and out of that, we know what they want. I believe that as leaders, it is important to know the problem of your people. And the surest way to know that problem is to live in that problem.
Mrs. Mercy Kadi, the chair lady of a local women rights lobby group, Sauti ya Wanawake, spoke to the impact of rising awareness women rights.
The transformative effect this has had on these young girls cannot be overstated. It is truly inspiring to witness the positive change that you've brought to my community, and I'm glad, I'm proud of you. I stand before you to express my sincere appreciation for the commendable work undertaken by Action Aid.
Local lobby groups such as Sauti ya Wanawake work in partnership with Action Aid Kenya on 3 areas: challenging violence against women and girls, women in leadership, and economic empowerment for women and girls.
Sauti ya Wanawake Magarini is a movement that works in partnership with Action Aid, and our coverage area is the whole of Magarini sub-county. We have a structure, we have the umbrella, and we work in partnership with Action Aid.
Nelly Lusigi, TV 47.
Now, climate stakeholders have urged communities in arid and semi-arid lands in Kenya to be at the forefront in taking actions to mitigate climate change in their regions. Speaking during the 6th annual regional conference for the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis, KIPRA, under the theme Accelerating Economic Development for Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, ASALs, the climate actors from the ASAL regions concluded that empowering communities will provide sustainable solution for better climate action. One of the key interventions that KCCWG is piloting together with the national government is the financing of locally led climate actions to ensure that the communities are at the forefront in terms of prioritizing their climate change priorities.
Communities that live in ASAL areas or arid and semi-arid areas face multiple challenges which are further increased by climate change issues. We saw recently in northern Kenya when we had floods last year. It was just happening immediately after they had experienced drought, and the drought has become very frequent. The one thing we do is to ensure that we put our members in a position to be able to understand the reason why we have to prioritize climate change interventions, both from a personal level, household level, to a community level and a government position.
There's still a lot of gaps between communications of policies, what are our priority areas as a country and what the communities need. So there's this gap that we need to be able to fill out, and this includes kind of like conversing between the communities and also policy makers, just so they can be able to know what are the priorities for the communities rather than just donors or any other personnel that have interest.
The youth form a larger integral part of the society because they are still energetic, they are young and they are creative. And because we are in the wake of climate change, because climate change is an emerging thing that needs more people to solve it, then youth can be able to harness their potential and their numbers in this place. Because we are counting on the creativity and the innovations that come from the youth. We are counting in the knowledge that they have gotten from the institution. We are counting in the numbers so that they can be able to have sustainable climate action.
Now, still on that climate change bit, pastoralists in Tana River County have begun venturing into crop farming following the effects of climate change that have had a negative impact on their livelihoods in the recent past. Most of them have swiftly shifted to farming after losing many animals during the drought pandemic, even as they call for more support from both the national and county governments.
When life gives you lemons, what do? You make lemonade out of it, and that is what pastoralists in Tana River County decided to do. The severe drought experienced in most parts of the country, including here in the past few months, caused them to come up with a plan B, farming.
Mimi safari yangu ya ukulima ilianza mwaka juzi wakati ukame mbaya ile iliyokuja kutufagilia ng'ombe zote. Hapo ndio nikachange maoni yangu ya ufugaji, nikaanza kuingia mambo ya ukulima.
Mohamed Shobe lost over 100 herds of cattle but now has all the reasons to smile, just like his fellow farmer Galgalo Molu.
Mimi niko na shamba eka sita. Eka sita nalima, eka mbili nalima mahindi. Eka moja nalima pojo, ile nyingine ni marage ya aina soya ndio tunalima. Tunaomba rais ya taifa la Kenya, tunajua ni mtu ya kuchapa kazi, tunaomba ni mtu wa kuchapa kazi, tunaomba hiyo mbolea atufikie sisi pia, tunahitaji mbolea kwa wingi sana.
Tana River woman representative lauded the move by the pastoralists and farmers, at the same time appealing to the government and donors implementing climate change projects to consider Tana River County in order to help transform the lives of the locals who are committed but fall short of resources.
Hapa kuna potential ya kufita na river nzima. Na ile bidii leo nimeona hapa ni bidii kama kiongozi na pia kama national government ikisimama na sisi. Sisi watu wa Tana River sidhani kama tutakuwa tunaenda kutafuta chakula kwingine. Tumewapatia pumps leo kupitia ngafu. Leo nimewawezesha kuwanunulia 15 villages pumps za maji, generators, tumewapa mbegu.
It is their hope that this new venture will yield fruits, quite literally. Chipto Buit TV 47.
At 30 minutes past the hour time now for a very short break. Don't go away. We'll be back with more.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Properties Limited gives you an opportunity to be a proud landowner of 50 by 80 plots at the picturesque range of Joscan Dovoine, going for 350,000 only. We have other 40 by 60 plots in Kamulu Ngondo going for 650,000. The plots are architecturally designed in a gated community with access roads and water. We have ready title deeds waiting to be transferred to your name. Call us today on 0716 44 22 77 or pay us a visit at your preferred time at Roy Post Office Building, 2nd floor.
Welcome to the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center, the premier events venue. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed to meet all your needs, from large-scale conferences to intimate meetings and everything in between. Located in the heart of Thika, the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center offers stunning views of the city skyline and is easily accessible from all major transportation hubs. Our facility features ample parking, free Wi-Fi, advanced audiovisual equipment, and our technical team is always on hand to ensure your event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Don't take our word for it. Make your next event unforgettable at the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. Contact us today for bookings and reservations. Email multimedia@mku.ac.ke or call us on 0708 212204 or 0727 441733 or 0721 438 629 to learn more about our services and book your event. Radio 47, tuko nawe mchana kutwa na usiku kucha.
Farmers from the Lumut areas in Pokot Central have benefited from the Mambe Plants project with a great ability to resist famine in those areas. During the launch, the agricultural officer in the county said that the program aimed to improve the lives of the locals, whereas the Minister for Agriculture in the county, Alfred Longronyang, said that they aim to provide more than 2,000 seedlings to farmers in those areas. The residents of the area welcomed the project, calling, or rather saying, it is a great sigh of relief for them.
Yale tuliyopatiwa na gavana wetu. So mambo ya njaa tumepanga vizuri. Tunapeana mbegu ya mahindi, lakini hiyo ni ya kusaidia kwa sababu njaa ile mashamba ndogo ndogo ili
itatusaidia kupata kama chakula tunakula. Lakini kwa njia nyingine sasa kwa kisasa itatusaidia kwa kuuza. Sisi tukiuza tunanunua mahindi, sababu hatukusi mahindi. Tunanunua nyingine sasa kwa kisasa itatusaidia kwa kuuza. Sisi tukiuza tunanunua mahindi, sababu.
Now, small-scale fishermen in Tana River County have complained of fishing challenges caused by fishing equipment that surpass the sea of the area. According to the fishermen, the activity has caused disaster and the loss of some of the aquatic beings that they depend on in their daily fishing activities, including dolphins, turtles, and small fish. The fishermen are now pushing the government to ban the equipment in the area so that they can continue with their fishing and tourism activities, which are the support for the local economy of the area.
Vile unawatuharibia hata zile ecosystem za hapa baharini. Maana uvuvi wao ni uvuvi unatumia neti kubwa, alafu uzito wao unakuwa na cheni kule chini. Sasa ile cheni inavunja ile ecosystem.
Trawler owners wakipewa license ni 5 nautical mile kwenda deep. Lakini wao wanakuja shallow, wanakuja 3, mara nyingine wanaingia paka 2. Unaona na hakuna hatua zozote zinazochukuliwa, na samaki wanaua ni samaki wadogo na hawabebi hizo, wanamwaga alafu zinaning'inia kwenye ufuo wa bahari. Sisi tunaona majumvi ya samaki, naona kasa, madolphin, naona na hatufaidiki na chochote, bali ni kuangamiza na kuharibu.
Let's get now the latest from the world of business. By the end of the year, you will be able to trade in your fossil fuel boda for an electric one, provided you undergo a mandatory training on the same. President William Ruto says the government has secured 100,000 units by the end of the year for the exchange, and this migration will be the first step in curbing the increasing carbon emissions from vehicles in the country.
Kenya has over 1.5 million bodabodas operating on its busy streets, clearly one of the most popular modes of transport in the country. This number continues to significantly increase, especially in rural areas, to ferry people and cargo. The President of the Republic says the country is on a mission to achieve 100% green energy adoption, and the bodaboda sector will be among the first sectors to adjust to this transformation.
Nitapanga na watu wa NYS. Nitapanga na counties. Nitaongea na Council of Governors pamoja na wabunge. Tunataka hiyo kazi yote ya training pamoja na license isipite shilingi 2,500.
In addition, he revealed that electric bodabodas will in the long term reduce fuel and maintenance costs for riders.
Na hiyo ni kazi mzuri. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie tutawashirikisha, tutawashikanisha na opportunity ndio tuweze kwenda mbele pamoja.
Mimi nitahakikisha wote wameletwa ndani, tuwashikishe pamoja. Hii bodaboda sector ikuwe timu moja ambaye hakuna mtu atasema niko chama hii ama iko group hii.
The rollout will begin from November this year, with the 100,000 unit exchanges expected by the end of this year. Eric Matika, TV47.
Moving on, Kenya ranks as the third most targeted country in the continent in cybersecurity threats, with cybercrimes almost doubling in the last year. Communications Authority Director General Ezra Chiloba says this can be attributed to the lack of or misuse of firewalls, and the country must adopt the latest in IT infrastructure to safeguard data in the country.
Cases of cyber attacks in Kenya have skyrocketed, reaching a high of 444 million incidences in the last 6 months, up from 350 million in the same period last year. The Communication Authority of Kenya says the situation is escalating faster than anticipated as Kenya continues to grow in the digital space.
It's important that citizens are aware about their rights and obligations when they're actually in the cyberspace. Now, we think that where we are now, especially in the era of digital transformation, it's important that we invest more in infrastructure, skills, and collaboration.
Furthermore, the authority reckons special collaboration with all relevant stakeholders will bring forth long-lasting solutions for the continued menace.
In Kenya, what we have done when it comes to collaboration is to work with other partners, both within government and outside government, to ensure that we share insights and putting our resources together to ensure that there is